Chapter 5 The Ancients. Evercloud entered the advisor's room for the first time in his life, and it felt sacred. The room was rather small, and there were no windows. He looked at his father, and then at the other bears who sat around the mahogany table. Each was dimly lit by the torches placed in the corners of the room. As Evercloud looked at them, each bear looked back with a different expression. Oaktongue, the smallest of the bears at the table, seemed to be indifferent. Forest Moon, who was thin by bear standards, seemed jittery, almost as if he vibrated with unease. These bears didn't help Evercloud master his own nerves, and as he looked on, it only got worse. Sitting next to Forest Moon was Firerock, a large gray bear who scowled at Evercloud. The next advisor, Red River, seemed rather happy. That helped calm Evercloud a bit, but that feeling was replaced with confusion as he looked upon his uncle and then his father. Whiteclaw beamed at him with obvious pride. This would have been a great comfort were it not for the fact that Even Eye's face seemed so tortured and morose. Evercloud tried to remain calm as he greeted each of the bears, although he was sure he must have seemed apprehensive. "Please, my son, be seated." Even Eye pointed at an empty chair across the table, between Oaktongue and Forest Moon. Evercloud smiled and took his seat. "We have called you here today to teach you a bit of the history of the world," Even Eye said. "This is something that no human knows. It is a piece to a puzzle that has been lost to humans for a very long time. In fact, this group has been in debates for the majority of your life as to whether you should be told at all. This information could be very dangerous in the hands of humans. Recent events, however, have caused me to remove the issue from debate. I believe it is now necessary to tell you our secrets. It's better you hear it from us than to hear it from rumors that will undoubtedly spread through the kingdom. If you are ready, I will have your uncle tell you of the ancients. He is a better storyteller than I." Evercloud's mouth was dry as he spoke. I am honored to have this knowledge bestowed upon me, and I am ready." "Then we shall begin," Whiteclaw said. "Once there was nothing, or at least that is the word we use to describe what there was. You see, Evercloud, at one time our world was made up of things we have no words for and no images for, things our minds cannot conceive of. So we say, long ago, there was nothing, and we imagine it as infinite blackness. All we have as a clue to our origin are the teachings of the elder bears, though even they do not know of the true origins. The first things they have told us were about the ancients. The ancients were strange creatures, not at all like the creatures of today's world, but at the same time, very much like many of the creatures we know. There were 4 of them, and they controlled the elements of our world. There was the mermaid, Shera, who controlled the water. There was Baknar, the dragon, who controlled the element of fire. Tenturo the griffin, with the head and wings of an eagle and the body of a lion, controlled the air. And finally, there was Denza. Denza was a gigantic beast who most closely resembled a gorilla, and he controlled the element of earth. Each of these ancients created many creatures to populate the earth. It is believed it was Denza who created the kingdom of bears. Human, however, was another story. The ancients wished to create a creature that embodied a bit of them all. So they gathered together and drew upon all of their strength. Denza created the form, and Shera added water to it. Baknar used fire to give it warmth, and then Tenturo breathed air into it. This was the way in which they created human. Human was to be the connection among all creatures. Human was to be the balance. The ancients also gave to their creation some of the powers of the elements. They gave humans slight control of wind, water, earth, and fire, so it could help the world flourish. The ancients had created a utopia, and human was their bastion of peace. The earth saw ages of prosperity for itself and all creatures. But then the great tyrant came and destroyed the utopia of the ancients. It is said the great tyrant possessed a power that the ancients did not. It is said he could summon lightning from the sky. The ancients were powerless against him, and the great tyrant hunted them, hell-bent on destroying them. Given little choice, the ancients fled from the earth, never to return. The great tyrant took control of the creatures of Earth, driving them apart. Humans became his slave, and he forbade them from controlling the elements under the penalty of death. The great tyrant had cast an ominous cloud over the earth and ruled it for many ages. After a time, humans forgot their powers, and it was not long before the entire world had forgotten what it once was. It was now a world afraid amid the storm of the great tyrant. The elders say the great tyrant's rule became more and more distant over time, until it seemed as though he had disappeared. To this very day, we do not know if the great tyrant still controls the earth, or if he has left the world he destroyed. Whiteclaw stopped to see if Evercloud had any questions. So, Evercloud began, I mean no disrespect, but are these just stories, or are they true? We take no offense, Evercloud. In fact, Whiteclaw said, glancing at his king, there are many bears who have their doubts, although the majority of the kingdom does believe this account to be true. Does this mean I can control the elements? Evercloud asked. The truth is we don't know, Whiteclaw said. Outside of the elders' teachings, there is no record of any human with these abilities. At this point, Eve and I interjected. I understand this is confusing for you, Evercloud. I have labored under the weight of whether to tell you this or not for many years. I only want what is the best decision for you, and for this kingdom. I only want to keep you from danger. What danger? Evercloud asked. I don't see the danger in hearing these stories. Well, Whiteclaw said, I was about to get to that. You see, a rumor has circled the land outside this kingdom. A rumor of a giant footprint in the west, the footprint of a griffin. Many inside the kingdom, as well as outside, believe this may be the marking of the ancient Tenturo. And Tenturo is dangerous? Evercloud asked. Oh, well, no, Whiteclaw said, slightly confused. I mean, he shouldn't be? Oaktongue took Whiteclaw's hesitation as an opportunity to step in. The danger is, Evercloud, that you may wish to explore the truth in this rumor. There is the thought that you may wish to search for the ancient in hope of regaining the power once given to humans. There is also the fact that some believe you should. Even I glared at Oaktongue, and the small bear cowered. It is my decision whether the boy goes or not, even I said. If it is to be debated, I would ask you to save your feelings for another time. Perhaps this is a matter we should address directly, my king, Red River suggested. Fine, even I said. Evercloud, return to your mother and let her know I will be a bit longer. Father, I have something to say. Evercloud stood up as he spoke, and it surprised the bears. It was not strange for them to be in his presence, but Evercloud had only just become a man, and it was odd for them to hear words of authority from him. No one knew quite how to handle it. Speak, my son, even I said. What is it that bothers you? Evercloud took a moment to choose his words wisely. He knew there was little chance the bears would let him stay in the room. I want to thank all of you for allowing me to hear the ancients, Evercloud said. I feel very honored to have been accepted by the kingdom. I understand I am the king's son, but I also understand I am a man, and it may be difficult for you to place faith in me. I owe the citizens of this kingdom, as well as the king, my life. With that said, I am a man, and I will not have my fate decided without my own input. You have had faith in me, accepting me into your kingdom, and you must now continue to have faith that I will make my decisions with the Everflame in my heart. I wish to be present for this debate. Evercloud took his seat and kept his gaze upon his father. There was no immediate reaction, but Evercloud thought he could see the smallest of grins play upon Even Eye's mouth. Then the king stood. As I look upon you this evening, my son, I am proud. And I know the decisions I made years ago were right. You may sit with this esteemed group of bears, and your input will be considered. But first, let us go to the dining hall and eat. This promises to be a long night. Everyone agreed it was a good time for a break, and they made their way down to the dining hall. Even I, Whiteclaw, and Evercloud sat at their own tables so they could speak more privately. Many citizens of the kingdom were taking their meals in the hall this night, and it created enough noise to allow private conversation. "Do you think I overstepped my bounds?" Evercloud asked. "I don't think so," Whiteclaw answered. "I think you were assertive, yet respectful. I'm sure the others understand your feelings." "It reminded me of when you were younger," Even I said with a smile. "Oh, here comes another Evercloud story," Whiteclaw said. "What?" Even I asked. "Do I tell many of these?" "No, of course not," Whiteclaw said with sarcasm. "How about you eat your meal and be quiet, you old grouch?" Even I said. The bears chuckled, and then Even I looked back to his son. "It reminded me of your first day in school, Evercloud. I was so afraid you might hate it, and that the cubs might give you a hard time. When I came to collect you later that day, I asked your teacher how it went. I'll never forget how proud I was to hear what she told me. She said you had stood up to some cubs that were bullying a weaker cub. Oh, what was that little cub's name? It doesn't matter. Anyway, she said the bullies had left, and then you stayed and helped the weaker cub with his work. She told me you were a natural leader, and I had done a very good job with you." "I think I sort of remember that," Evercloud said, "but why did today remind you of that?" "You aren't afraid to take a stand for what you feel is right," Even I said. "You did it then, and you did it today. It's a good thing." Evercloud nodded and continued to eat his meal, thinking on his father's words. "I think we'd better finish up," Whiteclaw said. "Fire Rock's starting to scowl at us from across the hall." "Is he always like that?" Evercloud asked. "Unfortunately, yes," Whiteclaw said. "Can't really blame him, though. I'd be angry all the time if I looked like he does." Evercloud smiled, and Even I rolled his eyes. "We'd better go," Even I said. As they returned to the advisor's room, Even I briefly took his son aside before they entered. "These conversations can get ugly sometimes," he warned. "Try not to take anything too personally. The beginning to our plan for peace is convincing the bears that don't believe in it to agree to its merit. In a way, your actions here will go a long way to convincing certain bears that humans can be beneficial allies. If you were to act inappropriately tonight, it might be difficult to counteract the repercussions. You have to remember, at our core, bears are as afraid of humans as humans are bears." "I won't fail you, Father." Even I smiled at his son, and they entered the room. Everyone sat down, and Even I began the debate. "Tonight, we need to come to a decision concerning the rumor of the ancient and what action should be taken. As we usually do, we will go around the table and state our positions. After we have all spoken, we will debate. I'll begin." Even I shifted in his seat and gazed around the table. "As you all know, I do not necessarily believe in the tales told by our elders. It is my charge to make decisions that protect the interests of the kingdom, so my position is quite simple. Without greater proof than mere rumor, I believe it would be foolish to give this possibility our attention until we are presented with more information. Furthermore, I believe it is time to explore our options concerning our plan for peace with the humans." Even I smiled. "It would seem our boy has become a man." The bears nodded in agreement of the final statement, and the floor now belonged to Whiteclaw. "Thank you, King. As you all know, I believe wholeheartedly in the teachings of the elders. Although this is not but a rumor, I do believe it should be investigated. However, I agree with the king that it is time to implement our plan for peace. Someone should investigate the rumor, but not Evercloud. He is needed here."
"Thank you, Whiteclaw," followed Forest Moon. "I, too, believe in the teachings of the elders, and I fear this rumor of the ancients' return. If, in fact, one or all of the ancients have returned, we need to know as soon as possible. Those who hope to have amiable relations with them should not ignore being so strong. I agree with Whiteclaw."
Red River came next.
"I agree with the king. We cannot throw our resources into the ring with rumors. If our imminent future lies in this plan for peace with the humans, then we must put all our efforts toward that goal. Red River shrugged. What do we have to gain by tracking down an ancient, anyway? Unfortunately, Oaktongue began, I don't agree with any of you. Who are we to use this boy as some political pawn? We are doing fine without the aid of humans, and we always have. Even I grimaced. What is the rush in this plan for peace? Let the boy go find the ancient. If it were I who had lost a part of my history, I would wish to regain it. Now it was Fire Rock's turn.
I like none of these options. This plan for peace has still given me no reason to endorse it. I do not trust humans. They are vile.
Now Evercloud knew why his father had warned him.
Let us not forget, they tried to kill one of their own children. A bear would do no such thing. Also, the boy should not be allowed to look for the ancient. Why would we wish to see humans have more power? To hunt us further? Instead, let us continue with our lives and forget about these dreams.
Finally, it was Evercloud's turn. Fire Rock's words had stung him, but he kept his promise to his father and did not let his emotions get in the way. Instead, he channeled his energy into making his position known. What authority do I have? Evercloud asked. How can I be an ambassador of peace? Who will listen to me? In my own kingdom, I am viewed as an outsider. You just heard testimony of the distrust for humans. What have I done to change those feelings? Nothing. And what of the world of human? What authority do I hold over them? I am no king of humans, no champion of the people. They will not listen to me. I must find the ancient and regain the powers humans once held, he continued. Only then will I command authority. I will use the powers justly, so that this kingdom will trust my actions, and with the powers, the world of humans will take my words seriously. With authority, the plan for peace will work. I must go and find the ancient. No one had considered the fact that humans may not listen to Evercloud, and the realization came as a shock. Oaktongue was the first to respond. I agree with Evercloud, he said. With the power of the ancients, there is no chance the plan for peace could fail. Besides, it's what he wishes to do. We shouldn't stand in his way. I agree with Evercloud as well, Red River added. He brings up a very valid point. Evercloud beamed. Had he done it? Had he convinced them?
The boy may have changed Red River's mind, but not mine. I keep my original position.
Fire Rock pounded his paw upon the table. I'll stand with Evercloud, Forest Moon said. His words make sense. That was 4 of the 7. That was a majority. Evercloud knew this was not a majority rule decision, but he could not help but be hopeful. Whiteclaw now took his opportunity to speak.
I understand this is a difficult decision for everyone, he said, and I understand there are many factors that weigh on each decision. It would seem to me the largest factor involved is whether Evercloud should be focused on the plan for peace or with finding the ancient. I understand both these issues are important to all citizens of the kingdom. However, in these situations it is best to look at things logically. Both issues concern Evercloud, but Evercloud is not needed to address both issues. I volunteer myself and my son Riverpaw to travel the land and search for signs of the ancient. Evercloud can stay here and work with this group on the plan for peace. Should Riverpaw and I find further evidence of the ancient, then we reevaluate our situation.
But, Uncle, Evercloud began. Even I glared at Evercloud as soon as the words left his mouth, and Evercloud quickly remembered his promise. Even I started speaking before anyone else could add their thoughts on the matter.
I have heard all of your positions, the king said, and I believe I fully understand where each of you is coming from. Each of you speaks for the kingdom, and you must remember that I do as well. The majority of this kingdom believes in the existence of the ancients, so I give any matter concerning the ancients great respect. Yet the fact still remains that we have nothing but a rumor as evidence. The distrust between bears and humans permeates everything we do. Its evidence sits in this very room. It makes no logical sense to me to sacrifice minds and bodies to a rumor when there is an actual issue they could be focused on. We have scouts that move through Efenlareya to bring us news. I say have patience, and let them do their job. Even I now turned his gaze upon his son. As to the issue of your authority, Evercloud, you carry the authority of the kingdom, and every bear that is a part of it. Do not take that power so lightly.
I apologize, Father, Evercloud said. I meant no disrespect.
I know you didn't. There is no need for an apology.
Even I looked around the room, and it seemed that no one had anything else to add.
I believe this meeting is over for now. Let us gather again in 2 days to discuss the plan for peace.
Everyone nodded in agreement and got up to leave the room. Even I stayed back and kept his son so he could speak to him privately. Father, you know I love the kingdom, Evercloud said. I wouldn't do anything to jeopardize it, but your words don't reassure me.
How do you mean? Even I asked.
I may have the body of a man, Evercloud said, but I've done nothing to prove my worth as a man. If I carry the authority of the kingdom of bears into the world of humans, will they not fear it instead of embracing it?
I understand your concerns, Even I said, but you don't consider the possibility that this is an issue we can resolve through conversation. You are but our key into that conversation.
Evercloud looked at his father with doubtful eyes. I suppose.
I think it's late, Even I said, and I think we should reserve any further conversation for the morning.
Evercloud nodded, and then followed his father out of the room. As all in the castle fell asleep, the mountain lay silently beneath them. The Everflame burned bright against the dark sky. It was a clear night, and the stars twinkled brightly. If anyone in the kingdom had been stargazing, they may have noticed one star in particular getting larger, minute by minute.